Good morning, my Teaserking family again. So I want to do the football, like the conferences in college, a little bit. I want to keep them separate. I don't know how many people are going to look for Conference USA, but it's not bad to look at the littler conferences. You make a lot of money in there. But we'll go and recap the SEC and the Big Ten and the Big 12 again. I've updated my spreadsheet. So again, we can talk about the quarterbacks and the coaches and where they're coming from. It's a royal mess now, college football, because you got so many coaches just in and out. You've got, Chip Kelly was at Ohio State as their offensive coordinator last year, and then he left. And then they got Matt Patricia, who's terrible. I can't believe he's their defensive coordinator at Ohio State. This NIL is bad news. If you want to transfer, fine, but why are you paying the players? I just don't get anybody that thinks paying the players in an amateur sport is good. There's no way it's good for anybody. All right, the quarterback makes, supposedly, is there even a contract? I'm not sure there is. The Vegas guy last year didn't get paid, and he quits the team. I'm not getting paid. I'm not playing. What is that? This is college. You're not there for the money. Why don't you go play pro? Oh, you won't get drafted. So you need the exposure. Hey, Luke, how you doing? I'm looking. Our silver was up to 39. It's 38.30, and our gold's starting to get back. So the 10 o'clock drop is hurt, but we're back to 33.50. And you can see the silver drop. We were at 39.10, and then at 8 o'clock it dropped, started coming back, and then the 10 o'clock derivative bullshit, which I'm not really sure why it's still going on, because you really can't do anything with it. They've got to cover. They will ask for delivery of the gold and the silver, and they have to deliver it, which they can't do. So, silver should not be. This 10 o'clock drop is just bullshit. So the U.S. has to cover it. They won't be able to. And then I showed Mark McGuire yesterday. He wasn't on Friday. Where he was on, I didn't see it. And I went into the thing yesterday, into the channel, and there he was. So he's saying that if they don't want to play the U.S., they'll just blow up COMEX, because COMEX is supposed to be to get the physical. Even though it's a futures market, it's all price fixing, as we know, and you've got to sell the contract and buy the there's got to be a sale and a buyer. And then if they ask to cover and say, I want to take delivery, you got to give them delivery. You can't ignore it. And, well, we're just going to cut the price, but not deliver it. You can't do that. So they will eventually just blow up COMEX one way or the other. Either we play with Basel III, which means we got to cover all these shorts we just did today, or they'll just not use it, and they'll say, fuck you, and go to other things. I'm still making up my mind on Vegas. I got to see what's going on, but we'll see. We got a few weeks. So we know we're seeing this whole defense contractor bullshit. I was watching some YouTube on my break, and they were talking about doing a 500% tariff on India and Brazil and China for buying Russian oil. Again, they're blaming the Russians for the war, which is not their fault. They're trying to end the war, but nobody will play. So they just keep, now they're like, okay, fine. We'll blow the shit out of it, which is what they're doing. They probably don't want to leave the U.S. any assets to it. It's the stupidest war I've ever seen. It's not even a war, really. Russia doesn't even consider it a war. They're calling it like an exercise or something. They want all the countries. So this is how you know that the U.S. is bankrupt. They want all the countries to buy the military and pay them. So you have to pay us for the defense contractors. So they're going to build you weapons. Well, how long is that going to take? It's not like 5 minutes. It's not like making tennis rackets. It's going to take a year or two to produce what they want. And this is the CIA's way of getting out of the recession and getting out of the massive inflation. You pay us for our weapons. Are they the only ones who make weapons? The U.S.? Seems kind of weird. But everybody in Europe, who are all broke, by the way, who don't have any money, who even if they do pay you, they're paying you in inflated dollars that are worthless. You're going to build them weapons, and that's going to get us out of our recession and out of our $37 trillion. Because if we force them all to buy it, this is the stupidest thing in the world. It'll never work because the dollars you're getting are worthless. The defense contractors don't make money, but it's a small kick in the bucket for, are you trying to pay your $37 trillion off with this war and forcing all these countries to buy your weapons? So clearly we see who's running the country, the defense contractors. Again, the politicians are they're all paid off by the lobbyists. They're all corrupt. If I met a politician, I'd probably tell them to fuck off. I don't think I'd be happy to see them or shake their hands. They're all a bunch of losers. They're killing the country. They're killing the money. The money supply is gone. We can't get money on the bonds, so we're trying to force people to buy our weapons. Germany, on the other hand, wants to buy. The one guy wants to buy, and the other lady's like, we have a dark history. We don't want a lunatic running Germany again. We're not going to stand for it. So once you've had Hitler, it's a very sticky subject. So saying they're going to buy them and actually buying them are two different things. Saudi Arabia, we're gonna buy weapons, and why would they buy weapons? They got Russia and China like backing them up, supporting them. It's clear the U.S. is in trouble. Doing the war to get out of it is really what's happening. We're doing the war to get out of our recession, all of our money printing, and the best way is to have them buy weapons from the defense contractors, which are very expensive, which these countries don't have the money. These countries are all broke, just like us. Their dollars are all worthless. Germany's going to give you this. This isn't worth anything. And I mean, that's just a game where how are you coming up with the FX rate between the dollar and the euro is just bullshit. And the dollar and the British pound. Why is the British pound stronger than the dollar? They're broke too. They're all broke. The only hope's gold and silver. Why silver's dropping like it is today is just more bullshit of these derivatives. But don't be in dollars. Stay in the stock market. Let's take a look at what's going on here. So silver's at 38.33, starting to come back up. Gold is at 33.47, 33.50, so it's fine. And again, silver's 38.33, so you can't really. It's only down 9 cents. It was up, so I think you'll see silver push. Let's go to the Dow. And that's up $29 to 44,000. How can the stock market be up? How can it be? How can it be 44,000? I mean that's insane. Anybody in the stock market, you're gonna get crushed. Well, it's like Madoff. Bernie would never do anything bad to anybody. And of course, who was on Bernie's side? J.P. Morgan. And who's printing the money for the stock market? J.P. Morgan. Yeah, this is just bullshit. 44.3. But see, they're trying to keep you into the stocks. I got a feeling Bitcoin is about taxing the people in Bitcoin, as they need money. You'll sell your Bitcoin, but they can track everybody, and so they know who bought it and who's selling it, and they're going to you get a 1099 that you made profit, a capital gain on your Bitcoin. Didn't think that was possible, did you, and your Bitcoiners? You thought Bitcoin was free and private. Nobody knew any of the transactions. And now you're finding out it's not free. It was set up by the CIA, I was told. Same code that they use. So it's a trap. So be careful, Bitcoiners. Gold and silver cannot be a trap because it's physical. We have it. So they're kind of pushing it down with these 10 o'clock derivatives, but it's just a joke. But gold's sitting all right. It's still 33.50, so it hadn't gone down too much. Silver, it's still in the 38s. Let's get it to 40. And let's see the government shit in their pants and run the other way. But that's where we're headed. And again, COMEX doesn't need, I'll show a little bit of Mark McGuire where he kind of basically says the COMEX game's over. So the defense contractors are running the country. They pay off all the government. They're the lobbyists. And they just, to make sales, they have to have a war. Hey, I don't even know if they need a war. They're just trying to strengthen. The whole thing's such bullshit. Russia has no plans to go into Europe. So now they're selling to Europe. Well, you need to protect yourself from Russia. Russia's coming. Russia's not coming. Oh, yeah, they are. So you need to protect yourself. So you need to buy what? You know, there's no war. You need to buy our weapons. What kind of crap is that? And it's since they do all of it. And that's the problem. Excuse me. So that's where the problem is. The defense contractors are running the U.S. I'm not even sure Trump. I think George Soros is still running it. The Scott Simpson guy is he's an idiot. I love how we threaten people. Oh, if you don't do it. The other part is anytime that the U.S. had Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi come out with a gold standard, they killed him. And I think that's the other piece of what's going on is they're trying to kill these people it's like, oh, wait, you're coming out with gold-backed currency. Oh, wait, no, you can't, because they know that'll end the dollar. And so they're threatening war with Russia and China and all these countries for coming out with a gold-backed currency. The difference is this is Russia and China. You can't fight Russia and China. You don't have an army. So I love how Ukraine, yeah, we'll fight. Oh my God. So the U.S. won't send troops, neither will Europe, but we'll fight. We'll fight for you. Well, I'm going to send my guys out to get killed. And now I got 70-year-old guys in the army, and I got 16-year-old kids in the army. That's our army. And we don't care if they die as long as I keep getting my money. That's Zelensky. What a scumbag that guy is. Anyway, so I think the war is on its last legs. I think Russia is just sending a ton of missiles and drones at them. and they're going now. They've bombed Lviv, which I'm sad because I like that city, and they bombed. They haven't bombed Odessa yet, but they bombed a few west side. West is Poland side, east is the Russian side. So they've taken the four cities on the east side, but on the west, Lviv, Odessa, a few other cities, they haven't bombed Odessa, but they're starting to bomb that side. So they're starting to bomb the west. And what are you doing? Well, yeah, everybody will get missiles. And yeah, that's all right. So, they can't make them fast enough. They're already planning on who's going to repair Ukraine after the war. Well, and what money are you going to get from them? So we keep needing money. So we want to charge for everything now. Well, we're going to charge you for the weapons. We'll charge Ukraine to fix you back up. I mean, somebody's got to pay for that. BlackRock isn't going to work out. It's for free. And it's just ridiculous. So anyway, it's nearing its end, but the U.S. doesn't want it to end because we need to make sales of our weapons, because that's how we're going to pay back $37 trillion selling. And it's not like they have a lot of weapons to sell, and they take a long time to make. You don't just make a Tomahawk missile tomorrow. We'll have it by Friday. Probably takes 6 months to a year to make them, and tanks and planes. You don't just make them in a day. So I don't know what they're thinking, but this is the last straw. We don't want anybody else on gold because our dollar will be worthless. So we don't want anybody back. We want everybody to buy defense because that's the only thing that's the only product we make. And we're going to tariff everybody. 500% tariffs now. I mean, what are you on drugs? They don't use the dollar. Your dollar's worthless. So that hurt somebody. Said, well, we can print all the money we want, but we don't have any weapons. So if we go to war, we don't have any weapons. You can't print all the money. Again, the fail of everybody to understand is that the dollar, the more printed, is no value. So you can print money without value. We saw that in World War II. Hitler takes over. He's got no money. Well, I'm sure the Deutsche Bank could print all the money he wanted. It's not like they have a stop on the printing press. It's just the realization the money has no value. So you can have money, but it has no value. So people with 200,000-300,000 in the bank or in the stock market or in Bitcoin, the money has no value. So you could have $1 million in Bitcoin, but it's got no value. That's what nobody's really understanding. That's where the economists, me, come in and explain that, because people just, we can just keep printing. We have unlimited money without any value. Anyway, baseball yesterday, had a great day. 7-1 plus 17 units. The Boston won again, now on a 10-game win streak. Seattle beat Detroit. Detroit's now on a 4-game losing streak. Milwaukee now on a 7-game winning streak. That was my lock, 5 units. We lost Minnesota. Then we won the Houston under. We won the KC under. We won the San Francisco under. And we won the San Diego under. So I just lost the Minnesota game. And now we're done till Friday. I'll go through my lineups and look at yesterday's games and get the hitters. Now, it's tough on teams because now the break happens. It's sort of like if you play golf and you play the front 9 and then you go have lunch and a drink. Now you got to start up again on the 10th hole. Now, if you're playing bad, you start up better. Okay, it's a new start. If you're playing good, it's very hard to keep it going. So it'll be interesting. The Tigers have lost 4 in a row. I can see that going to about 10. I think they're falling apart. They have no bullpen. They have one pitcher, Scubo, who got the shit beat out of him by Seattle. And then they got Casey Mize, who I like him because he went to Auburn. Now that I know he went to Auburn, but not, he's okay, but he got the shit beat out of him too. See, now they're starting to pitch bad. The bullpen sucks because the manager's got his head so far up his ass, he doesn't know what he's doing. He keeps going to the bullpen. Well, he keeps going to this one guy who sucks. Keeps giving up 3 and 4 runs every outing, and he keeps going back to him. Reminds me of the Tigers. What was that when they played Boston and they had Verlander, Scherzer, and Price? And they're all pitching shutouts into the 7th inning, and then the manager pulled them for the reliever who sucked, and they lost every game. They had him shut out, lost every game because he came in. Remember the big poppy home run into the bullpen in Boston? If you left Verlander, Scherzer, and Price and let them finish the game, what are you saving them for? This is the playoffs. It's done. You're playing and you're pitching all 9 innings. No, let's go to the bullpen. So he blows the first game. He blows the second game. He blows it. Why do you keep going back to the bullpen? What are you doing? And you keep losing the game going to the guy in the bullpen who sucks. Well, that's what this manager's doing. Keeps going back to the bullpen, and the guy sucks, and he keeps giving up 3 runs and 4 runs. So Detroit's toast. I mean, they might have the best record, but if you look at their division, all 3 teams in their division are under 500, with the White Sox being way under 500. So they have a very easy division. So they're beating teams. They keep going for the extra base, making a big. They don't have any steals, but they go for the extra base. And that's okay until it stops working. Teams will realize what you're doing and sucker you into it. They're starting to not hit. A lot of times you see they're getting shut out or 1 run, and their bullpen stinks. So all they have is School, who is due for some bad outings, right? You don't win every game. Bob Gibson, I think, had a 1-something ERA in 68, but Scooble's not going to just win every game. And if he does, they're going to lose the other 3. Again, Flaherty is terrible. Their bullpen's terrible. Casey Mize is okay. Will Vest is good, but he's only going to pitch if we have the lead in the 9th. So if we're losing, he's not even coming in the game. So your best reliever is not even part of the game. Like yesterday, they're losing 3-2. You don't go to Will Vest. You go to these other clowns, and 3 runs, 4 runs, and they lose 8-4. So the team I just watched this last week, certainly not the best team in baseball. Pittsburgh has Paul Skenes. That doesn't make them the best team in baseball. So we'll see. Football. I'm going to go to my spreadsheet and let's look at a general overall view of college football. Then we'll go through the lines for the pros and the college. We haven't done that in a while, although I'm not expecting a big line jump. All right. So let's first look at the quarterbacks. So I'm just going to go conference by conference. So let's look at the Big 12. Now, I can take the team from last year, if that makes sense. So, like Texas Tech was an over team. They scored 38. They gave up 34. Uh, Baylor scored 34 a game. Colorado, now they're not going to score 34 without their quarterback and receiver. TCU will. They scored 33. Arizona State lost Scatterboot 33. Iowa State scored 30 with Brock Purdy or with Rocco back. BYU, their quarterback is suspended. UCF 30, Kansas State 30, Kansas 30. West Virginia is back to Rich Rodriguez, was 29 last year. Oak State 27 gets a new freshman quarterback. Cincinnati, Sorsby's pretty bad. Utah, I don't know what they're going to do. Devin Dampier is more of a running quarterback. He was 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Arizona gave up 31 a game, and Houston gave up 22, no offense. So let's look at the quarterbacks. We got Baron Morton, 27 and 8. That's touchdowns to interceptions. Sawyer Robertson, I really like at Baylor, 28 and 8. Caden Salter, 15 and 6, is more of a dual quarterback. So he goes to prime time in Colorado. Hoover at TCU, 27 and 11. Sam Levitt, Arizona State, 24 and 6. Rocco Beck, 25 and 9 at Iowa State. Then you get to UCF, Cam Fancer, 6 and 6, probably more of a running quarterback. A.B. Johnson, Kansas State, 25 and 10, also more of a running quarterback. Jalen Daniels at Kansas, 14 and 12, also more of a running quarterback. You see what happens with the running quarterbacks when Daniels has to throw 14 and 12, A.B. Johnson 25 and 10 when they have to throw because they can't always run. I mean, the defense will play you for a run. West Virginia, a new Rich Rodriguez and a new quarterback. Oklahoma State has a freshman quarterback, Flores, possibly. Sorsby at Cincinnati, 18 and 7. Devin Dampier goes to Utah, 12 and 12 from New Mexico. Noah Fafita had a great 2 years ago, 18 and 12, and Connor Wegman from Texas A&M, 3 and 5. But I do like Willie Fritz there. Scott Frost, I have lost all respect for him when he said to Joe Burrow, we're going to make you a safety. And Joe Burrow laughed and won the Heisman, throwing for like 50 touchdowns, and is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And you wanted to make him a safety. I question Scott Frost if he has any idea what he's doing, because if he can't spot Joe Burrow's talent, and Joe Burrow was a quarterback at Ohio State and got hurt, if you can't spot that talent, man, what are you doing coaching? All right. The Conference USA we just talked about. Let's go. Liberty gets Ethan Vasco, 14 and 8. Western Kentucky gets this guy McIver from Abilene Christian, who Division II, who threw for like 3,800 yards. So look for Western Kentucky to sneak up. Be a good bet. Kenyon Jenkins, Florida International, 22 and 8. Hunter Watson, 12 and 8. That's Sam Houston. Evan Bullock, 14 and 3 for L Tech, I believe. New Mexico State gets a guy, Fife, from Montana. Look for him to he's supposed to be pretty good. We'll see. Again, playing at Montana. That's New Mexico State. UTEP, Scott Locklear, 10 and 6, nothing. And Middle Tennessee's terrible. Nick Vitito is 16 and 10. Then we've got two new teams in Conference USA: Delaware, Michigan of the East, and Missouri State. Keep an eye on them. Missouri State has a new Division I quarterback, Clark, who was good in Division II, and Marker for Delaware, I have no idea. So we'll go on. The SEC. Ole Miss starts a new guy, some Smith, 2 touchdowns, 4 picks last year. Joey Aguilar goes to Tennessee from App State through UCLA. He actually got traded. He signed at UCLA, but the dodgeball player didn't want to play, so he wanted to go to UCLA. So they got Aguilar back or from UCLA in a trade. Interesting. Aguilar, 23-14 at App State, should light it up for Tennessee. Ella fucking Bama, I don't know. I'll re-go through that, regroup through the SEC, but he's going to be a new quarterback. Like DeBoer. Arch Manning, I don't get the big fanfare. 9 touchdowns, 2 picks, 117 yards a game, played a few games. He's the Heisman Trophy winner? Are you kidding me? I don't buy that for a minute. And that's where they get you. They get you, and I'm going to bet Arch Manning. I'm going to bet him for the Heisman. And, I'm going to bet Tech. Bullshit. This guy, he's nothing. Maybe he's good. Well, we don't know that just because he's Arch Manning. He had 2 years there to get rid of Urs. He couldn't do it, and he didn't transfer. So I'm not sure how good he is. I think he's a little bit more of a runner, but good luck with that. Georgia, Gunnar Stockton came in when Beck got hurt. Didn't really do much. 101. He just really had that the playoff game because Beck got hurt in the second half of the SEC championship game with Texas. South Carolina, Lenora Sellers, 18 touchdowns, 7 picks, 33 sacks. It's a lot. Joey Aguilar only got sacked 15 times. 18-7, 33. He's a good runner. We'll see how he is as a quarterback. Jacob Zeno from A&M, 6-5. They get the K-State offensive coordinator. Maybe it's not Zeno. It might be. No, I think it is Zeno. Taylon Green at Arkansas, 15-9, 32 sacks. Nussmeier at LSU, 29-12. His numbers should go up. Missouri, we don't know who their quarterback is. Somebody new. Auburn, Langway. No, this is Florida. Langway, 12-9, more of a runner. Jackson Arnold goes from Oklahoma to Auburn, 12-3. Mr. Freeze is the coach. Dagio Pava, our guy, 20-4 at Vandy and beating Alabama and losing to Texas by 3. So he's our man. This is our clutch. Him and Haynes King we're going to jump on. Blake Saban from Baylor is at Old Mississippi State, 8-1 last year. John Mateer at Oklahoma, 29-7 at Washington State, but we hate Venerables. And Brock Vandergriff at Kentucky, 10-8. Nothing special. Notre Dame needs a new quarterback. Connecticut for Fagnano, 20-4. Pretty good quarterback, 32 points a game. So Connecticut's not a Z team anymore. Let's go to the Sun Belt. Now, I have gone through it in my book. Texas State loses my guy. I can't think of his name. I don't know if he got drafted. He should have. He was excellent. But Ken, the coach, is a very strong offensive coach. He was a quarterback. So Yarnell's new, 10-5. Lou Lafayette, they got a backup from LSU. We'll see how he does. South Alabama, Davenport's good. He's the new quarterback. Applewhite is a good offensive. He was a quarterback, so he's got a good offensive mind. James Madison, Matthew Slucka, 6-1 last year. So we'll see what he does. Marshall is terrible. They could be the worst team. They are. Gibson is the new coach in his first year ever coaching. Wilson is the quarterback, a backup from Syracuse. And they lost 47 players left when the coach left. So the coach left for Temple, I think. Coastal Carolina, Morris is the new quarterback. Georgia Southern, they go with French, 17-11 last year. App State gets Swan, who was at Vandy. He's a pretty good quarterback. Old D, Colton Joseph, 11-5 last year. Arkansas State, Jalen Rayner, 16-10 last year with 31 sacks. 31 sacks means he can't read the defense and he can't read the blitz, and they nail him. Prime Jr. had 50 sacks. Troy Goose Crowder, 5-0. Georgia State Christian Valu, 13-11. Lou Monroe, Aiden Armonti, 9-10. And Southern Miss, Braylon Braxton, 19-2. So that's pretty good, that one. They were a Z team last year, 15 points, 37 against. So keep your eye on him. Let me just check back in, see what's going on. All right, Luke's there. All right. The MAC conference. All right. We've got Western Michigan. Lowry from Indiana will take over. New coach Taylor. Buffalo, Robertson from Kansas State's pretty good. I think the coach Lembo was there before. Ohio, Peter Navarro, 13 touchdowns, 11 picks. A new coach Smith in his first season ever as a coach. That's a big problem when you got that. They don't know how to coach. At least if he's coached 3 or 4 years, they know what to do. Bowling Green, we got Drew Pine from Notre Dame. Toledo, Tucker Gleason, 24-8 with only 14 sacks. We'll see how they usually win the MAC, or they're right up there. Eastern Michigan goes to Kim from MSU. Who knows? He when the Oregon State coach came in, he got bumped out. Ball State, Kelly is a dual quarterback. Northern Illinois, John Holtz, 2-2 last season. DeQuan Finn went from Toledo to Baylor, back to Miami of Ohio. 3-2 last year at Baylor. Pretty good coach, though, here. Been there a while. Central Michigan goes to Joe Labus, 7-7. He played last year. New coach Drinkall in his first year ever. Akron, Ben Finley, 16-9, 23 sacks. UMass is now in the MAC. They're a Z team. Jordan is the quarterback from Yale, and I think they got a new coach in Harris Mix. And Kent State gets a quarterback, Montez, from Fordham. Lombardi went to Fordham. So Kearney, another coach in his first year. So Kent State and UMass, big trouble. And Central with the new coach. All right, let's go to the Mountain West. Maddox Madsen, 23-6 for Boise, although they don't have their running back. Vegas has Orgy from Michigan. I don't understand. He was terrible. New Mexico goes to Lane from Idaho. Utah State goes to Barnes from Utah. He was nothing much. We've got San Jose State. Walker Egat was there last year, 13-10, only 4 sacks. Now the key here is Niamala Tolo was the coach at Navy, is the coach at San Jose State. So they should be very, very good. He was a very good coach. Colorado State. Fowler Nicosi, 14-8, but I do like their coach Norvell. We've got Nevada. We've got Brock Purdy's brother. So this is his first time. San Diego State, Hawaii, Aledo, a new quarterback, 6-0. Timmy Chang, who was their quarterback in the 80s or 90s. They got better last year, so we'll see what they're doing. They got some defense. San Diego State, Denegal from Michigan State. Never heard of them. Okay, and then we've got Wyoming has Anderson 6-3, and the Air Force has a new quarterback, Johnson. Don't know much about. Oregon State will go to Malik Murphy. Was at Texas, went to Duke. He did really good at Duke. 26-12. Oregon State might be okay. Let's go to the AAC. We got Seminaza 25-10. I'll have to double check this. Memphis, yeah, Brandon Lewis from Nevada, 16-7. We got North Texas, Mestermaker, 2-2. Or Poffenberger, a senior transfer from Miami. We're not sure yet. Army Coleman's a senior. And it's hard to replace Daly. I hope somebody picked him up for fourth down, third down conversions and goal line, because that guy is great at finding the hole and getting the yards. He's East Carolina, Hauser, 18-11. UTSA, Owen McCown. I highly recommend betting him. 25-10 with 27 sacks. They scored 32 a game with him, though. Blake Harbaugh, Navy, 13-4. He's very good. Byron Brown at South Florida, 2-0, mostly a runner. UAB, Jalen Kitna, John Kitna's kid, 17-11. Caden Veltkamp at Florida Atlantic, 25-10. Not too bad. No defense, though, for Florida Atlantic. Tulsa, 9-6. Kirk Francis, don't know. Charlotte Hero from North Carolina will be the new quarterback. Rice Jenkins is the new quarterback. And Temple Evan Simons, who I think is from Northwestern, 15-9. The ACC and the Big Ten. Carson Beck from Georgia goes to Miami, 28-12. I don't like Cristobal at all, their coach. SMU keeps Jennings, 23-11. Lashley, an excellent offensive coordinator. Louisville, Miller Moss, the USC guy who sucked, 18-9. Clemson, Clay Klubnik, 36-6, so he's a big stud. Syracuse, Angeli was a Notre Dame backup, and they have a new coach, Brown, first time coaching. So it's a guy who's never coached before. That can't be good. They keep hiring coaches that don't last, that aren't very good. North Carolina, Gio Lopez. From South Alabama, 18-5. Belichick, the coach. Pitt, Eli Holstein's back, 17-7. Virginia Tech gets Kyron Drones, 10-6. Not great. BC, Gratian James, 6-2. Bill O'Brien's the coach. NC State, CJ Bailey was there last year, 17-10. Georgia Tech, my man, Haynes King, 14-2. Only 6 sacks. Key's the coach, excellent coach. Look for Georgia Tech, very live. Duke gets the Tulane quarterback, Mensah, 22-6. Cal gets Brown, the backup at Ohio State last year. Wake gets Deshaun Purdy, 10-6. Dickert's the new coach. Stanford, Elijah Brown, 2-3. and Reich. So Andrew Luck's the new GM. Wright, the coach from Indianapolis, is now the coach at Stanford. So they should score a hell of a lot, or maybe Andrew Luck will go out and play. Virginia, Chandler Morris, 31-12. This is the guy from North Texas who's outstanding. Florida State, Thomas Castellano from BC, 18-5. So another long year for Florida State. Although he's got to be better than Uglia Buglia. The Uglia. All right. Big Ten. Fernando Mendoza from Cal, 16-6. You got the great coach Signotti from James Madison. They are a very strong team. Ohio State, Sayan, a sophomore from Alabama, takes over. Oregon, Dante Moore from UCLA, who sucked at UCLA, is the new Oregon quarterback. I'm surprised they couldn't get anybody better than him. Penn State, Drew Eller, 24-8. Then they got the Kansas offensive coordinator. USC. Now, this is, I think, the team that's going to win the Big Ten. You got Jaden Maeva, 11-5 with only 5 sacks. You got the UCLA defensive coordinator, and you got the coach who I'm blanking on. I said it before. Who's the USC coach? Lincoln Riley. So you got a good offensive coach. You got a good defensive coach. Very weak quarterbacking now that Ohio State, and they lost their coordinator. Oregon's got a weaker quarterback. Penn State, Drew Eller's choke. So we'll see. Illinois, very good quarterback. Luke Altmaier, 22-6. You've got Iowa as a new quarterback, Gronkowski from South Dakota State. This will be interesting. Since when does Iowa go and get Division II guys? Rutgers, Athlon Kakomayas was there last year, 18-7. You've got Minnesota. Lindsay is a freshman. This will be interesting. That'll probably be an under team. They got a 17 defense. Look for the defenses day. Nebraska with Raiola, not much, 13-11. Very weak. Maryland, a new quarterback, but we don't know who it is. Wisconsin goes to Billy Edwards Jr. from Maryland, 15-9. Washington goes to Williams, a sophomore. Good coach and Fish from Arizona, so this will be interesting. Michigan, we're not sure. Mikey Keene was 18-11, and Underwood is the freshman. I don't know what you want to do. I would start Keene right away and then let Underwood get used to playing with college guys, not high school guys. Michigan State, Aiden Childs, 13-11, which explains why they struggled. UCLA gets Nico Iamoliva, the Tennessee volleyball player, 19-5, which wasn't actually bad, but for Tennessee it is. You watch Joey Aguilar put up like 35 touchdowns this year. Northwestern goes to Stone, who used to be at SMU, started a little bit. And Purdue, Brown, a sophomore, a new coach in Odom. So that is your quarterbacking thing. It's kind of, I could go through certain stats. Like Indiana was 43-14 last, 43 points, and they gave up 14, but I don't know that it helps. We got a new quarterback. Ohio State and Oregon will not be 35. Will Ohio State's defense still be a 10? This we don't know. Alabama. Let me see if I can get who's Alabama's quarterback? Alabama's quarterback is Ty Simpson, 14-25 last year. No touchdowns, no interceptions, 167 yards. So if that's the quarterback, yeah, He was Milrose's backup. So he's there. He's a junior, but he's never played. Now the offensive coordinator came back. He was with Seattle. So we'll see, but you got to love DeBoer and they got Ryan Williams, the receiver. Their defense wasn't. They gave up 17 a game, but for Alabama, that's unusual. Same with Georgia, gave up 20 a game last year. Texas 12, Ohio State 10. That's why we like the under in the first game, and neither team's got a quarterback. I'm not betting on Arch Manning, and I'm certainly not betting on Ohio State's guy who's couldn't beat out this guy. So he's the third stringer. You had Milrose, and then you got Simpson, and then you have the Ohio State quarterback. And what's his name? Sayan. So Sayan is a sophomore, couldn't beat out this Ty Simpson guy. So you've got the third string Alabama quarterback at Ohio State without Chip Kelly. You're in big trouble. I think they'll run, and I think it'll be a defense that I'm doubting Matt Patricia can handle. So we will see what Ohio State, they're probably going to have their worst year in a long time. And they won't beat Michigan, I'm sure. They don't know how to beat Michigan anymore. So that's what you have. So the questions are, what do you, like Syracuse, Angeli, the Notre Dame backup, who isn't good enough to be the starter this year, tells you something. So you're getting the worst team. So you got to read that stuff. I'm back. Okay, so that's what you have in college. So I've been going through the conferences, the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, the AAC. Now I just did Conference USA, and then I will go do Mountain West and Sun Belt and the MAC and finish it up. Let's take a look at the numbers. So I'm going to do the NFL first because it's quicker. As we're in here, let's check our gold and silver. Gold 33.46, silver hanging in at 38.35. It's about even for the day, but it was up higher. All right, so let's look at the NFL. Philly 746.5 hasn't moved in Philly. This is September 4th. We got KC at Brazil playing San Diego, 2.5, 45.5 hasn't moved. We got Jacksonville 2.5, 46.5 against Carolina, hasn't moved. We got Washington 746.5 to the Giants, hasn't moved. We got Pitt 339.5 to the JETSs. Gotta love Pitt with Aaron Rodgers now. Jesus. Arizona 6 and 42.5 to New Orleans. Interesting what'll happen with who's New Orleans' quarterback. Oakland goes to New England. New England 342.5. all I remember is Ken Stabler scoring with 2 seconds left in the playoff game before the game of hand, the Sea of Hands. No, it was the Super Bowl year. In '76, they went and they were playing New England, and they were down like with 2 seconds left in the game, and Stabler did like a fake to the running back, and he dove in for the touchdown around end. That's the Raiders in New England. Or the whatchamacallit game, the Charles Woodson fumble that wasn't a fumble. That was the biggest joke in the world. Talk about fixing games. Miami and Indy. Miami 1.5, 46.5 now. We got to see who his quarterback is. Cincinnati at Cleveland. Cincinnati 5.5, 45.5, 44.5. Go Joe Burrow. Tampa Bay and Atlanta. Tampa Bay 1.5, 49.5. Hard to believe this line. It was 2.5, so it's gone down to 1.5. Frisco 1.5, 45.5. Hard to believe this line is so low. Denver 7.5, 41.5. Go Denver. Beat Navy. The Rams 2.5, 45.5 over Houston. That line hasn't moved. Green Bay 1.5, 49.5 over Detroit. Interesting game. Detroit lost their center. Hudson said probably won't be back for that one. Jared Goff, the biggest choke. So this will be interesting. Baltimore, Buffalo 1.5, 52.5. Lamar and Allen. We know Buffalo will win. And our last game, Chicago 1.5, 44.5 to the Bears in what promises to be a very low-scoring game, as neither team has a quarterback. All right, let's see. Do we have college yet? I have to go to a different site, I think, for college. Maybe not. No, I think we're okay. All right. So our first game, 8:23. We've got Kansas State 3.5, 49.5. That number hasn't really moved. Vegas and Idaho State, we don't care because Idaho State's if they're Division II, I won't say it. Kansas, Fresno State at Kansas. Kansas 14, 51.5. Lines move very little. Western Kentucky and Sam Houston, Western Kentucky 10, 61.5. This is up from 7. And up from 58 to 61. Now, after reading my Conference USA, I really like Western Kentucky now. Stanford, Hawaii, Stanford 2.5, 55.5. So now we know a little bit more flavor of what's going on here. Stanford's got Mark Wright, the coach from the Indy, as their coach, and Andrew Luck's the GM, but he can't play. Hawaii's got a new quarterback. Schrager, I guess, graduated. I don't see him on any other team. So we'll see how the new quarterback is. The systems, and they're pretty good. But I thought Stanford was, and they might still be terrible with just because they got Mark Wright, the new coach, doesn't mean they're ready to go. All right, so that's the 23rd. Then we go to the 28th. We got Boise. In South Florida. We got Boise 9.5, 63.5. That number hasn't really changed. Boise without Gentry. Mannix looked good. South Florida is an over team. No defense, so we'll see there. Ohio goes to Rutgers. And Rutgers 10.5, 47.5. We'll see. So this is why now I take the notes and I'll go through my MAC and see, oh, this guy's really good. He's really bad. This is a new coach or whatever is going on. Jacksonville State, UCF. We got UCF 1656. We got Scott Frost back, but he doesn't have our quarterback. And Jacksonville State should be terrible this year. Delaware State. Delaware is now Division I, but Delaware State isn't. The Blue Hens, you got to love it. Wyoming and Akron. We got Wyoming 8.5, 49.5. Really hasn't changed much. How bad's Akron going to be? East Card, NC State. I gotta find this. Here it is. NC State is 12.5, 56.5. That hasn't changed. We'll have to look at my notes. That's why I take them. And a bunch of garbage. Here we go. Buffalo at Minnesota. Minnesota 17.5, 45.5. Hasn't really changed. Half a point. I'm not going to change my line at this point. We'll wait till game week. Nebraska goes to Cincinnati. We got Cincinnati. Oh, a big change. Cincinnati. Oh, no. I'm looking at the wrong column. That was my line, Cincinnati. Nebraska 7, 51.5. They were 6. Okay. I had Cincinnati -3 on my own line. I don't know. The Nebraska's all that good. Good defense. Probably being under. Miami of Ohio and Wisconsin. Wisconsin is 17.5, 41.5. Interesting game there. Again, I got to look at the quarterbacks. So I have a column in my list. Call some New Mexico. Maybe they need a coach. So I have a column in my list. So I give you the team, the rank of the team, the play, if I want the dog or the team, the defense, and then I come to the end, quarterback. And I'll put in if the quarterback is new or returning, right? So like Ohio State, new quarterback. Alabama, new quarterback. Georgia, returning quarterback, even though I only played a game. Michigan, new quarterback. Illinois, returning quarterback. So you'll start, so I can see who do I got, because if he's new, he's got to get adjusted. If he's returning, he doesn't need that. And as you see with this NIL, you got a bunch of new, how do I play Joey Aguilar and Ikavila and all those guys who transferred. Army plays Tarleton State. Are they even Division II or are they Division III? Go Army, beat the shit out of them. But we won't have a line. But it's good. We get to see the quarterback. Charlotte and App State. All right, the game's at Charlotte. App State is 8.5, 53.5. Charlotte, I don't know. See, last year Charlotte was a Z team. That's what I gotta. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because we got to learn the team. So we got to learn how to bet them. Western Michigan and Michigan State. Michigan State is 17.5 and 49.5. Wake Forest and Kennesaw State. We've got Wake Forest Oh, we got an over under 53.5. So it was 17-52. Wake Forest and Kennesaw State. It was pretty bad last year. Auburn and Baylor. We've got Auburn minus 2.5, 56.5. Should be an interesting game. I kind of like Baylor as a home dog there. I don't know why Auburn's favored, but Baylor's got a good quarterback, good coach, and they're really good at home as a home dog against an Auburn team. Maybe not Alabama or Georgia, but here. Georgia Tech, Colorado. Georgia Tech's up to 4 and 57. Gotta love Haynes King. I like Key, the coach. They're a good team. Colorado, they got to come up with another prime junior. Does he have any more kids he can play at quarterback? Vegas at Sam Houston. Let's see. We got Vegas 13.5, 58.5. Sam Houston's pretty weak this year. No quarterback. Vegas, they got the running quarterback. This will be interesting. And a new coach, I believe. Central Michigan, San Jose State. Central with the new coach. If I can find it. And I can't. Where the hell is this? The 29th. I couldn't have missed it. I would have definitely had it. Oh, it's at San Jose State. So San Jose State's 10.5 to 2.5. Remember, they have the Navy head coach. So they will be a very good team. Old Mississippi State at Southern Miss. I don't know why these are out of order. Oh, there it is. All right, 10.5. All right. Southern Miss and Old Mississippi State at Southern Miss. Normally they're in order. You just go right down the list. Now, how did this get way down there? They must have moved it. It's a noon game now. Mississippi State 12.5, down from 14 and 57.5. I'm not sure how strong either of these teams are. See, that if they moved the time to noon, it was a late game. They moved it to noon. That's why I'm screwed up on my thing. Navy gets VMI. Syracuse, Tennessee. Another game moved to noon. Tennessee 12.5, 55.5. That line hasn't moved. Tennessee should kill them, especially Syracuse. It's a new coach. Ball State, Purdue. Purdue is 16.5, 50. Purdue's a Z team. Hard to believe there's 16 points over any. New coach, new quarterback. Texas, Ohio State, the game of the day. Ohio State 350.5, hasn't moved. You got to go under in the game. How are you going to get points with these quarterbacks? Florida Atlantic and Maryland. We've got Maryland 16.5, 57.5. Line hasn't moved. Northwestern, Tulane 6.5, 47.5. That line really hasn't moved. Old Dominion and Indiana. I must have wrote these on from another site. I mean, I can't find them. I couldn't have missed Indiana. Oh, here it is. Indiana, 23.5, 54.5. That hasn't moved. Let's see. Air Force gets Bucknell. The armed services are really playing tough teams. Here we go. Georgia, 38.5, 55.5. And I can't tell you for the life of me why this line would go down. Marshall with absolutely no quarterback and a new coach and 47 guys left. That's why the line's so high. Will Georgia put up 50 points? And I think they will. I guarantee you Marshall gets 0. What's the total on this? 55.5. This could be an under game for Georgia because this is back to Marshall won't score, but we have to see Georgia's offense. Nevada goes against Penn State. Penn State laying 45.5, 60.5. Nevada, we have to dig into the Mountain West yet. Penn State, I don't know. Yeah, they'll probably blow them out, but that's a big number. Temple and UMass. Temple's 1.5. $52.5. So UMass was favored. My line was Temple -7. UMass is terrible. Temple got a new coach who's pretty decent. So we'll see if Temple can get it back. Alabama and Florida State. Alabama's 12.5, 15.5. Yeah, they should probably have no problem with them. Got to keep in mind, Alabama didn't make the playoffs, and they usually get pissed after that. So look for them to really go to town on Florida State. Castellano is not that good a quarterback from BC. And we got a new quarterback for Alabama, but we got DeBoer, and his offensive coordinator that led Washington to the title is back. So he didn't stick around at Seattle long. Let's see. Iowa's got the University of Albany. It's a tough game. Virginia and Coastal Care. Virginia is laying 12.5, 57.5. Not a big change. Now we know Virginia's got a quarterback now. The kid from North Texas is very good. So a little lean to Virginia here, but we got to check on Coastal Carolina. That's why I put the quarterbacks in. I can see if he's never played or he's a good quarterback. Most of them we know, the Joey Argulars, the Drew Allards. It's the ones we don't know. Or Trent, the kid from Abilene Christian. How can I rank the guy? Even if he had a good season, it's against Division II teams or Delaware or those guys. All right. Texas A&M against UTSA, a night game. Here it is, 20 and a half, 56 and a half. It's about what it was. I don't know. I love UTSA's quarterback. A&M has some defense. So it's hard to bet A&M over, but it's hard to bet UTSA under. And I think they're a good dog, but you really don't want to get too much into the betting. Against A&M isn't really a healthy way to bet. USC, Missouri State. We got USC 32 and a half, 59 and a half. I got a feeling USC is going to really light this up. 32 might be a little much. It's at the Coliseum at home. But I think I think USC gets 50 by themselves. They have a way of doing that when they get pissed. They put up a 50, so they probably can cover too. Michigan and New Mexico. Michigan is 34 and a half, 52 and a half. New Mexico's got a pretty good coach, I think. I don't know. I got to revisit that. Michigan 34. Mikey Keene, yes. The new quarterback, I don't know, but he'll probably get out there. So this is a case where Mikey Keene maybe plays the first half. They get up 28-0. Then the Underwood comes in and he puts up another 20. So be careful of the backup quarterback. He's a good one. So I'll look for Michigan to probably cover, but I got to check New Mexico. And then we get to the late games. We got LSU and Clemson. Clemson minus 356. I think LSU keeps losing that first game. Clemson, good quarterback. Defense, they say how good it is, but I didn't see it. LSU, tough to stop. I think LSU is a very live dog here, or the over is a very live over 56. Brian Kelly usually has a good offense, usually can find ways to score, unlike a Clemson defense. UTEP, Utah State. Where the hell is that? All right. This went to a night game. Utah State 3.5, 59.5 to UTEP. I haven't really read the Mountain West yet. Georgia State and Ole Miss. Here we go. Ole Miss 36.5, 62.5. This is a new quarterback for Ole Miss. I'm not quite sure they're going to light it up. Georgia State, we got to see how good they are. A 33 defense, so this probably could go over if Georgia State has a quarterback. Rice and Lou Lafayette. Love my Lou Lafayette. 14.5, 51.5. This is, okay, let's say that. 14. No change against Rice. Again, these are hidden games that we do our research and we figure it out. Eastern Michigan against Texas State. Texas State does not have my guy, but they do have the coach. 14-58.5. Very explosive Texas State. Eastern, new quarterback, new coach. I didn't know there was an East Texas A&M. I thought it was just Texas A&M. SMU plays East Texas A&M. Jesus. All right, we got Georgia Southern and Fresno State. We got Fresno State 2.5, 54.5, up from 1.5. Fresno lost Mikey Keene. We got to see who they got. Georgia Southern, pretty good team, so we'll have to see. Washington State, Idaho. I think Idaho's still Division One. Arizona State gets Northern Arizona. Oregon State and Cal. It's a 10:30 game. And Oregon State's 2.5, 51.5 to Cal. Oregon State, we saw, has the new quarterback. It's pretty good. The coach, I don't mind. Cal, they were getting better last year, but Mendoza's on Indiana, so we have to see. Hawaii and Arizona. We've got at Arizona 13.5, up from 11.5, and 53.5, up from 52. So we got to see how Hawaii does with Stanford, but Arizona will be a much tougher test. Noah Fajita is very good, but we got to see the new coach, what he's doing. So hopefully Fajita can get back on track. Colorado State and Washington. We got Washington is 18.5, 52.5. Not a big change. Washington should be very good this year. Colorado State, I'm not sure on. We'll study these more as we get into it. Utah and UCLA. Utah's up to 4.5, 50.5. Now again, Neo Vila, the soccer player or the volleyball player, or is he dodgeball? What did he do? Is now UCLA's quarterback. Utah, Dampier is a running quarterback they got, but they always have a very good defense, and they're always very well coached. If they were a dog, this would be my lock if UCLA went favorite. But we'll see. Again, they're at UCLA. VTech, South Carolina. South Carolina minus 10, 45.5. That really hasn't changed. Great quarterback in Norris. We got to see about VTech. I think they got a decent quarterback. Notre Dame and Miami. Notre Dame is 3. Their quarterback's, I guess, decent. Good defense, good running attack. 54.5. Miami goes with Carson Beck from Georgia. So he's ready for big games. I don't know. I'd like it better if Notre Dame was the favorite, if Miami was the favorite. So I don't want to fuck with Notre Dame's defense, really, and Love. So we'll see. Carson Beck, he's good. He did win at Texas. Give him credit for that. It's more than Jared Goff ever did. So we'll see. And our last game is on 9-1. Okay, 9-1 is Monday. They're sneaking this in on me. TCU goes against North Carolina. This is a Bill Belichick game. TCU minus 3. Shit, I hope they were the dog. And 58.5. I got to fill in the blanks. TCU probably will kill them. Really good quarterback, really good coach. North Carolina, they got a mess. I don't know. Or is the girl coaching? Is the girlfriend the coach, or is Belichick coaching? Yeah, give Belichick credit for getting a 25-year-old. He's 70. Let him have some fun. I really don't get the people who have a problem with age. Oh, he's 50 and she's 25. Who cares? I mean, it's hard enough to find somebody they want to be with and that you like enough to hang around with. So does it really matter what age? Daria's 33. I mean, that's fine. If we love each other and care for each other, that's all that matters. Who cares about it? Why is age so important? Oh, no, you're 40. You got to marry a 40-year-old. Yeah, fuck off. That ain't happening. All right. So we got no baseball. No baseball for a week. We've got the All-Star game, and I'm not touching the All-Star game. So what I'll do now is I'll come back with Mountain West and the MAC, and I'll do the same thing I just did with Conference USA, and we'll just go through it. Now, what are we looking for? We have to build to get the players. So we have to build the team to know when we see TCU North Carolina, how do we bet it? How do we bet the New Mexico game? We looked at the MAC and it's pretty sad, but how do you bet it? Again, you're looking for the edge. You're looking for risk and reward. You're looking for less risk. The more I know about a team and a quarterback, the less risk I have. So I know what I have. Atlanta, Tampa, I know what I got with Penix, and I know what I got with Baker Mayfield, and I know what I got with Daniels, and I know what I got with golf. And so you just play into that. You know what you have, and then you can bet it accordingly. Lamar, he'll choke. Josh Allen, he'll probably win. Mahomes, he's going to win. And that's Joe Burrow. He's not going to lose to Cleveland. And that's what you got. You basically just go down the list. All right, let's Mark McGuire. And I don't care about the home run derby. Please. So there's a lot of problems going on. Here's our Trump. I don't know why he has to show that he signed something like we give a shit. Millions of Americans lost jobs due to Trump's tariffs. Probably what it says.
Until now, game changer. They have a wire trimming head.
Due to Trump's new tariffs. So what tariffs do is they add costs to the manufacturer. So you're gonna make Canadian Club and it's $20 a bottle, and now there's a tariff that it's just like a sales tax. You have to add that on. Somebody said the tariff wasn't a tax. Yeah, it is a tax. I don't know why they would say that. So it is a tax. It does make the cost higher, which leaves the producer two ways to go. He either makes less money or he tries to pass the cost on to the public. And as I said, it's very hard to pass the cost on to the public. I went to get steaks this weekend. I wanted a steak Saturday night. I didn't want Chinese. I wanted a steak. I go to my two meat places, my two meat grocery stores, and they were like $18, $19 a pound, 17. I didn't buy any. My ribs went up to 14 a pound, I'll pay 10 or 11, but I'm not paying 40. I don't want to pay 13. I ain't paying 14 because it's mostly bone. You get a little, those beef ribs. There's like 3 chunks. Fuck that. I'm not paying for the bone. I want to eat meat. I don't want to eat the bone. And so that's what happened. And you get that. So you just walk away. So you can't just. I don't know people that think you can just raise price. Well, we'll make it cost more. Then we won't buy it. And if we won't buy it, you can't sell it. You end up going out of business if you make something that you can't sell. I also heard Brazil is taking over quite a bit of our beef. So, be careful of your beef. It's coming from Brazil, if you know it or not. So I don't know. We're all fucked up here. We don't make anything anymore. But even our farmers are selling to Brazil and Argentina. Not good. So again, the tariff raises prices, raises costs. So now my cost went to $50 for my Canadian club instead of 20. I can't sell it for, I was selling it for 50, but now my cost is 50. So I either sell it for 70, which nobody will buy, or I lay off a bunch of people. And what this is saying is millions of Americans lost jobs due to Trump's new tariffs. And his new tariffs raising costs, which either raising the prices and people realize they can't, or you go out of business or you lay off your employees to make up the difference in the cost. I really don't know what Trump's up to. Seems like really an idiot right now. See, some of you people might like this Michael Pitto guy. He's a Keynesian. I don't like him. So, I mean, once you realize are they Keynesians or not, I don't want to listen to Keynesians because I know they're wrong. So why do I want to listen to somebody who's wrong? Even in class, I had that where in class, the first class was like Austrian economics, and he taught you everything. Then you had like a Keynesian, a classical versus Keynesian. And when he started talking, why Keynesian doesn't work, I was like, I don't care. I know it doesn't work. You've explained why Austrian works. So when you talk Keynesian, I would just turn off. Like, I don't want to hear this shit. I don't even want to hear it. Then we got the end of U.S. dominance, how China and Russia outsmarted them. Well, it's not too hard to outsmart the U.S. Let's see. There's some Russia's attacking.
Zach, it's like 120 degree in here. How are you under a blanket right now? Because it keeps me cold. Wait, what? Whoa.
So Russia is changing its strategy. Moscow's drone war is now sweeping across Ukraine from eastern cities to the once quiet west. Ukraine is struggling to keep up, shooting down hundreds but urging the world for more defense aid. All this ahead of Trump's major announcement in Russia on Monday. Here's a report.
Ukraine is under siege. Russia is pounding Ukraine with hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles for the 4th consecutive day. Moscow has fired nearly 600 Shahed drones targeting the western cities of Lviv, Bukovina, and the already hard-hit east. The relentless strikes have left Ukrainians scrambling for shelter.
In the bomb shelter, we could hear explosions and drones flying above us. and we saw the destructions on our street.
Moscow has unleashed its bombing campaign.
Can you believe it's 2025 and my friends in the Ukraine have to go to bomb shelters? 2025. Is Hitler back? I mean, that's what they did in World War II. The Brits hid in the subways. So when they bombed London, it didn't really, it blew up London, but it didn't, most people were able to hide in the subway. What the hell is going on here? 2025, we have bankruptcy in the world. We have the US dollar worthless. We have massive inflation all over, which is the US dollar worthless, but only in every country. We have the defense contractors selling weapons to people that can't afford them and have no money. And we have people living in bomb shelters in Kiev and in Lviv and wherever else. This is fucking nuts. What is going on? Well, this is the defense contractors, George Soros. George is getting his war back. He'll point out the Jews again. Hey, he's Jewish. He's Jewish.
By targeting cities of Chernivtsi, Lviv, Lutsk, Bukovina in the west to Kharkiv and Sumy in the east.
I've been to Lviv. A nice city. It was.
Experts say this isn't an outlier. This is Kremlin's new strategy. Russia knows when and how to carry out the precision strikes. Western cities are not far from Russia's targets. Russia is showing off its nuclear muscle. It is moving its deadliest strategic weapon, Yars missile, for its night drills. The intercontinental ballistic missile system is designed to carry multiple nuclear warheads, travel over 10,000 kilometers, and evade missile defense with sophisticated decoys. This isn't a drill for domestic training. This is a postcard to a nuclear reminder, right as conventional strikes peak. And as the smoke clears, Ukraine looks westward. President Zelensky has confirmed U.S. military aid has resumed. After a temporary freeze, crucial supplies, including Patriot systems, are on the way. President Zelensky is also urging for tougher sanctions on Russia, but the biggest shift has come from Washington. President Trump, for the first time since returning to office, is using presidential drawdown authority, allowing arms to be sent directly from American stockpiles, and NATO is buying U.S. Patriots to supply Ukraine, with Germany.
Did he say U.S. stockpiles? The U.S. doesn't have any stockpiles. Biden gave most of it away. Trump's giving the rest of it away. We don't have any. We have very little, and we gave a lot to Israel. We have very little stockpiles. Somebody invaded us, we'd be fucked because we couldn't defend ourselves. This is the problem. So they're going to give the money to the defense contractors to rebuild our defenses, I assume. But we don't have any. There is no stockpile here. It's all been given away.
Norway and other European states footing the bill.
I know. You'll be seeing things happening.
The clock is ticking as President Trump is set to make a major announcement on Russia on Monday. No one knows what it will be, but everyone knows what it could mean. For Ukraine, it could be the difference between holding the line or losing the sky. Bureau report, we on, world is one.
All right, now joining us in the broadcast, we've got a retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who's a military expert and also the host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Colonel Davis, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. Now, looking at what has unfolded in the Ukraine war in the course of the last week, where Russia has carried out repeatedly, sending hundreds of drones into different Ukrainian territories to stage these attacks. In your assessment, what is Russia trying to accomplish here?
Listen, Russia is very clear on this. There should be no ambiguity. I think one of the biggest problems is that very few in the West want to actually listen to what they're saying, because what they're saying and what they're doing are commensurate. What they said is that they will either end this war via negotiations, and they laid out the conditions at the second Istanbul meeting a month or so ago to the Ukrainian side, or they say very plainly they will keep fighting on the ground and they will keep fighting in the air until they seize by force of arms what they want. And they're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. Meanwhile, you have the West not willing to support any of that. Certainly the Ukraine side is not willing to submit to those very draconian measures. We've got to be clear on that. But you have, like, Germany just announced that they're accelerating the delivery of long-range missile fire with the Taurus into Ukraine to use deep into Russia, in quote, high triple-digit numbers. So the Western side continues to ramp up capabilities. You obviously have Trump, you just mentioned it ago, is now going to turn on a little bit more of the U.S. weapons. The European Union and NATO and individual European countries are ramping it up too. So you have both sides continuing to ramp up military capabilities, and nobody is looking at getting this thing peacefully done. So this is going to get worse before it gets better, I'm afraid.
It's going to get worse is the prediction that you're putting out. But also weigh in on what Donald Trump said this week, that, he in fact berated Vladimir Putin in a manner that he's never done before since he's assumed presidency. He said that when he talks to Putin, he hears a lot of nice things that are said, but nothing actually happens in Russia taking steps towards a ceasefire. With that being the case, what approach do you think Donald Trump will now take to try and bring about some kind of a ceasefire, if that is at all possible?
Well, this is another puzzling and problematic issue here, because this all stems from the July 3rd phone call between Trump and Putin, when Trump, reported by both sides, actually asked again for an unconditional ceasefire from the Russian side. The Russian side, very politely, even according to their own readouts, said, no, we're not going to do that. Until all the core issues have been settled and our conditions have been met, we're going to continue fighting, and we are non-negotiable on that. And I don't know why the U.S. president thought that just because he asked Russia to do that they would say yes, because there's militarily no reason for them to agree to an unconditional ceasefire when they're in the position of advantage. But Trump got mad because they didn't, and now he says, first of all, we've released and taken the pause back off of the missiles we're sending, and now I suspect that on Monday they're going to announce both an increase in the amount of ammunition and weapons we're going to send to Ukraine, and also a sanctions package, which Senator Lindsey Graham has been basically begging to get done for a long time. And I think those are probably the two things that are going to get done. But everybody needs to be clear that is going to have no impact at all on the fighting. It's not going to cause Russia any more harm. It may hurt them a little bit more, but it won't change the outcome. It won't change their air superiority. It won't change the Ukraine's ability to defend against these missiles, around the margins only. But Russia clearly has enough air weapons to continue to saturate the air. So no matter how many more Patriots you send, it won't be enough. And these kinds of destructions, like you showed a minute ago, will simply continue on, and the fighting on the ground will continue moving forward to the west.
All right. Without leave there, thank you very much indeed, Colonel Davis, for joining us with our perspective.
Well, it's funny. Trump wants the ceasefire, and Putin says we're not doing it. So why is Trump all upset that they're not doing a ceasefire when Putin said we're not doing a ceasefire?
I finally ditched my Ring doorbell and switched to Safe Doorbell, and I honestly wish I had done this way sooner.
Eu sinceramente nem acho.
BRICS responds to Trump tariffs, where they're going to do a tariff back. Sounds like the Batman music. So if we want to compete with the dollar, then it's anti-American? Now, Trump's no emperor. It's George Soros. See, what the U.S. has done is anybody trying to go on the gold standard, they've blown up. Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi. Well, now they're trying to go gold standard, right? BRICS. So Trump's freaking out because he knows that'll kill the dollar. And what's he going to do? Go to war with Russia, China, and everybody else? That ain't going to work. We watched Mark McGuire on Sunday. I can play a little bit of it, but he's basically saying we want to watch the one where he talks about.
It's worth having a dig into this. It's publicly available. The whole bottom line is strengthening the BRICS currencies at the expense of the dollar. We also expect a new BRICS currency bill note to be launched. It was shown in front of the camera. And there's a lot of instruments under this initiative. Huge initiative here. Now, there's a lot of public information available here. This covers BRICS Pay, BRICS Gold-backed Unit, the loyalty, the business version of BRICS Pay, and the upcoming loyalty programs. It's worth having a dig into this. It's publicly available. Gold, bottom line, is strengthening the BRICS currencies at the expense of the dollar. We also expect a new BRICS currency bill note to be launched. It was shown in front of the camera. Now, as gold is already being priced discovered in the Eastern physically backed markets, the formalizing of the financial infrastructures to support liquid global settlement is the final piece of the puzzle. And it will actually be the death knell for the COMEX if it doesn't become Basel III compliant. We've got Singapore, we've got Shanghai, Hong Kong, Russia, Brazil, Africa, Southeast Asia. They've got sufficient physical market liquidity to benchmark physical gold price discovery and to set gold on the decentralized, trustless blockchain rails, valuing the gold price in real time and based upon real supply-demand fundamentals. This is what we've all been wanting the West to do for 50 years. Now, the BRICS nations in aggregate have accrued sufficient physical market liquidity to benchmark a self-arbitraging, fungible gold price for trade of a T+1 settlement. But it's actually going to be T+0. This 7-second settlement process will be set on the already tested 40% backed decentralized sanction and tariff-proof blockchain rails. Every single gold settlement transaction will be Basel III, first year, a high-quality liquid first-year asset, and fully compliant. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fungible. And this is a real global price discovery process. And as it gains liquidity, it will push back against the underpriced paper-diluted Western exchanges. And while these bullion presented at the local London fixes is actually Basel III compliant because it has to be deliverable, these benchmark fixes currently only discover a small percentage of all of the CMA LBMA transactions. This is about to change. And as liquidity migrates into the globally fungible T+0 physical exchanges, a real supply demand will emerge and it will backwash into the FX fixes. So China's cross-border payment system, the CIPS, already interconnects 4,900 banking institutions. And while ignored by the mainstream media, it's not gone unnoticed that the Chinese SIPS platform overtook SWIFT transactions in May. So to sum up, this current paper-driven gold price suppression leg has really just opened one more opportunity for us all to join what every other central bank is doing, swapping, depreciating, debasing fiat currencies to load up on physical gold and silver, this time into bargain basement prices. Guys, girls, everyone, I look forward to hearing your stories in 2 weeks from now.
All right, that wraps up.
There you go, Mark McGuire. Let's see.
BRICS has become a real threat
Donald Trump's response to the just concluded BRICS 2025 summit was harsh. Yet for some reason, this is not being widely discussed. That is no coincidence. What's happening directly challenges Western dominance, and those in power do not want the world to know. But some are paying close attention. America's wealthiest elites. Behind closed doors, they are already sounding the alarm. Why? Because with each new BRICS summit, the dollar's position grows weaker. Billionaires, investors, former officials, all are warning a financial reset is coming. And Trump understands this too. That is why he went on the offensive, threatening BRICS countries and even warning U.S. allies. If you support BRICS, you will face the consequences. So why is Trump so fixated on this bloc? Why the threats, the tariffs, the ultimatums? The truth runs much deeper. The global economic order is changing, and it is changing fast. So let's break it down. The BRICS summit in 2025 was not just a diplomatic gathering. It was a bold statement. The global south is no longer willing to play by the West's rules. In a joint declaration, BRICS leaders called for a multipolar world, one in which power is not concentrated in the hands of a few wealthy nations, but distributed across regions and systems. This is no longer theoretical. BRICS now represents 46% of the world's population and 35% of global GDP, more than the G7. With Indonesia joining as the first Southeast Asian country and new partners like Nigeria, Vietnam, and Malaysia on board, BRICS is expanding rapidly, especially in regions long eager to have a voice in global politics. So why is Western media silent on this? Because it doesn't fit the usual narrative. In the press, BRICS is often portrayed as a bloc too divided to agree on anything meaningful, but the summit proved the opposite. Despite enormous differences, from Indian democracy to Chinese authoritarianism, the bloc managed to agree on key issues, at least for now. This unity is hard to ignore, and even harder to explain. Take the International Monetary Fund. The United States and its allies maintain disproportionate control. BRICS countries hold only 18.5% of voting power, less than 5 Western European states, which together control more than 19%. The US alone holds 16.5%, meaning nothing passes without Washington's approval. Simply put, the IMF and World Bank are tools of American influence. That is why BRICS is building alternatives. The new development bank and the reserve pool are already lending and providing financial support, without political conditions or pressure. Yes, the transition is slow. Brazil and India prefer reforming the old system, while Russia and China want a full break from the West. This creates internal divisions. But despite these differences, the message from Rio was clear. BRICS will no longer wait for permission. The reset has already begun. At the summit, the bloc issued direct criticism of the United States, condemning tariffs and sanctions as tools of coercion used by the West to maintain global leadership. The declaration used no diplomatic euphemisms, and Trump did not hold back either. He clearly sensed the threat and responded once again with threats. It wasn't the first time. In 2024, right after his re-election, Trump promised to impose 100% tariffs if BRICS challenged the dollar. Now he talks about 10%. This rhetorical softening says a lot. The strategy is losing power, and the opponent is gaining strength. Trump's words have become almost routine. He repeats the same threat.
Right, and nobody takes him serious. Well, the biggest thing is the dollar's worthless, right? So you're going to tariff me. I don't care. I don't want your dollar anyway. I'm not going to sell to you. I don't want your dollar. Your currency is worthless. Why do I want to sell to you? So I think that's the big problem. Now, I noticed, as I said, I went to the store to buy steaks the other day, and the price had gone up. Now, really, it was the dollar. They're starting to expose the inflation, that it takes more dollars now to buy a steak. It now takes $17, $18 for a New York strip or a sirloin or something like that. And that's just that. But can they pass it on? Even though the dollar's worth less, if they want to stay in business, they got to control the price. So I'm going to probably run to a store today and see if they're on sale. And then I'll buy them at $12, $13 a pound, not the $17, $18. I do have the grass-fed hamburger, but I just felt like a steak. You got to kind of prepare the hamburger, and you're making 3 or 4 of them. It comes in a little pack. So you open the pack and then you divide it into 4, and you do that. But I'd rather the steak's easy. Just put it out, marinate it, and cook it. So that Saturday, I just was like, no, let's just do that. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Daria's daughter is feeling better. We'll come home tomorrow, and I guess she's feeling good, and we'll celebrate her birthday, even though I'm here and she's in Russia. But good news, because I don't, it was a tough illness. So I'm glad she's going to be home, and hopefully we'll get that straight. I don't like when I'm cut off for a week, but I'm used to it with her already. All right, so a lot of tariffs. Mark McGuire. So we're going, if we want to or not, we're going Basel III. We're getting away. They can't, if they don't want to play, then it'll be blown up. So there's no more of that. This is a pretty good one. This is Germany.
Ladies, listen up. The video showing the pink salt trick that melts belly fat while you sleep has already passed.
You brazenly and shamelessly claim there's no money.
This is Germany.
In the same breath, you offer the US president to use German taxpayers' money to buy American weapons for Ukraine. Keep your word, do your duty, and stop throwing away the citizens' money which does not belong to you out the window. Every dictatorship begins with the banning of competing parties. Your word is worthless, even when it's written in black and white in your meager coalition agreement. You are a paper chancellor who plays at being a world power abroad, but at home lets yourself be led around at will by the election-losing SPD. When push comes to shove, you brazenly and shamelessly claim there's no money. In the same breath, you offer the US president to use German taxpayers' money to buy American weapons for Ukraine. Personally, I believe you've already secured your next supervisory board position as a lobbyist, Mr. Merz. And as the crowning insult, you then condescendingly tell the German people that they need to work more. No, Mr. Merz, it's not the hardworking people in our country who are suffering from inflation, rising costs, and high energy prices, and are burdened by an insatiable, wasteful state with taxes and levies who need to work.
Look how he moved back so she can't see him. And I'd vote for her because that's what you want in a leader. This Merz is obviously a Soros guy, and he's just doing what Soros wants. And so think about it. They're going to take German taxpayers' money, people who live and work in Germany, and they're going to go buy weapons from the U.S. to give to the Ukraine. Why would I do that? Why would I buy weapons to give to the? I could see buying weapons to keep for us, buying weapons to give to the Ukraine when it doesn't matter. The Ukrainians can't. They're getting bombed to shit with the drones and the missiles. What are you going to give them? And how much is that going to cost you? And it's not your money. This is the problem with government. They spend your money. They don't spend their money. This isn't the guy's money. This isn't the government's money. It's the people's money. And they're just we'll buy goods to give to somebody else. Would you do that? Would you go to the grocery store and buy groceries for somebody else, or would you buy groceries for yourself to eat? Exactly. You're buying for yourself. You take care of yourself because nobody else is going to. You can see the problems with government right there. He's taking your money and giving it to the Ukraine. And this is a fucking nightmare. What the fuck are you doing? Why would you do that? You need money in Germany. You don't. Germany's bankrupt. Also, by the way, they're in the euro. They're part of this team, which is basically worthless. Just like us, our dollar is basically worthless. The fuck are you doing? Well, let's buy weapons. That's like us. Well, I don't really have money, so I'm going to go buy a new car, and I'm going to give the car to Charlie Brown. What the fuck is going on?
Harder. You should keep your word, do your duty, and stop throwing away the citizens' money which does not belong to you out the window.
I mean, I would vote for this woman for president.
But as it stands, your chancellorship will go down in German history as the greatest electoral fraud. You need the monstrous mountain of debt because you lack the courage to make any cuts to migration costs, planned economy transformation, climate protection mania, and other leftist and green ideologies. You can't do it, and you don't want to either. Because with your firewall dogma, you've chained yourself to a coalition partner who wouldn't even dream of seriously tackling this challenge. A question to the colleagues from the union: did you actually campaign last winter for a government that would sit here and, as a governing party, fulfill every wish of the leftist sectarians of the worn-out SPD? Did you campaign in the winter to install radically leftist ideologies in the Federal Constitutional Court so that the highest German court could be misused as a tool for leftist state deformation, so that the separation of powers could be damaged and undermined? The SPD, from whom you let your social, financial, and economic policies be dictated, is moving further and further to the left in its panic over its own demise, and is clinging to the anti-democratic delusion of eliminating the strongest opposition force in the German Bundestag through a party ban. Eliminate us, eliminate me, eliminate my colleagues over there. This is the language used by your candidate for the highest court, Frauke Brosius-Gersdorf, who merely regrets that our 10 million voters cannot be eliminated. Ladies and gentlemen, this kind of language reminds me of very dark times.
Dark times in Germany is the Führer. And that is a hard play in Germany to fuck with that, because she wouldn't say it, but that's what she just said. Dark times. And this guy is doing what Hitler did. And you can't do it in Germany. They won't stop that. So they're trying to catch him in his track. Hitler never won an election. He always had a small percentage, and then he basically just killed everybody. So he would have killed this woman, and then he took power. I mean, that's what Hitler did. So she's saying, we're not doing that shit. No. We've learned you can't do it. So I like her. She's smart. She knows what's going on. The chancellor's just a Soros puppet, and he's trying to be Hitler again.
Of very dark times.
Look how one side's clapping and the other side isn't.
And it is precisely the Social Democrats who should know this from their own party history. Every dictatorship begins with the banning of competing parties.
That's a good way to end. Let's take a look at our gold and silver. So you can see what's happening in Europe. They're broke also, right? Germany, Italy, France, the UK, they're all broke. But they want to buy missiles from us because the defense contractors are saying you have to. All right, we're catching back up. 33.50 with the gold, Silver 38.41, starting to come back. It was 38.30 or maybe 25. So it's on its move back. We've got to get it to hold 39. Now this is being done not by the market, but by options. This is all bullshit. This is all no gold or silver is being sold. This is all paper. This is all options. This is all bullshit. This is what price fixing is, and it blows. But they're about to get rid of it. See, what it hurts is smart people like us who look at it, analyze, and realize our out is gold and silver, and then you got some assholes over here holding it down, doing options. J.P. Morgan and Citibank. Go fuck yourselves. I'll never bank with them. These are just criminals. Oh, we're going to keep the price of gold and silver down because we want to run options. Oh, no. You can't do it. It's like I said, it's like keeping my Canadian club down. Well, I want to buy it, so let's make it $5. Well, no, but the price is the market price that people are buying and selling on the shelves at the grocery store and the liquor stores. That's the price of it. Let the market control it. And that's what Mark McGuire was saying. So for the first time in 50 years, we're going to finally get a free market, not options, not paper, gold and silver, and it'll be 10 times higher. So we got to be patient and wait for it. We know, but we see it's coming. Stock market. Look at this joke. 44.4, up $56. I'd like to meet one person that's buying into this hell. That's ridiculous. So anyway, 33.50 gold, 38.40 silver. Nice to see 38, but it should be 40 by now. It shouldn't be going down. It's Citi and JP doing their little option bullshit, trying to control the price, which is totally fucking illegal. It's really disappointing, and the government doesn't do anything because they're run by J.P. Morgan. He put in the central bank in 1913. The Federal Reserve should never have come in. It's not in the Constitution. And I'll leave you with this last talk. So I'm watching the Tigers lose, and I'm all enjoying it yesterday. And I'm riding the bike after swim because the swim closes at 4:30, but the bike is open till 6 or something on Sunday. The rest of the gym. And I'm talking to some guy next to me, and I said, "Oh, your Tigers aren't looking too good." And he starts talking socialist to me, and I start talking Austrian to him. And he makes I don't know, he made some comment. What was my point? Just about, I think, gold and silver, and then his money in the stocks, and the money's collapsing, and it's just. And he even said, "I'm a socialist," and I said, "Why don't you move to Russia? Although I don't think they're socialist. Why don't you move to China? Why don't you move to North Korea? Why are you here bitching about the?" It was about the Constitution, that the Constitution. So he's saying, "Well, what was the Constitution written? That should be, it should be changed because it was written in 1776. He didn't even know the date. And then it was, he said, well, look at all the people now. I go, well, that's got nothing to do with it. It was written for a lot of people. It's about freedom and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's the theory that works. It's not about how many people are in the country, or it was written in 1776, so it should change. Adam Smith wrote all his stuff in the 1700s. It all works. Keynes wrote his stuff in the 1900s. That only put us in a depression and has ruined every country that's gone Keynesian because it doesn't work. He wants government control. He wants communism. And so we're talking about, and he thinks the Constitution need to be rewritten because it was written in 1776. And I'm just shaking my head at the guy, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you think it needs to be changed because it's just because it's old or because there's more people? Well, it worked for 100,000 or it worked for 1,000,000. Why wouldn't it work for 300 million? It's like 2 plus 2 is 4. Well, yeah, but that was in 1776 and that was for only 100 people. Now we have to change 2 plus 2 is, not to equal 4. And, it was the dumbest argument. Then I said, why don't you go live in a communist country? See how well that is. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I love the arguments by the communists. They're so stupid. The last guy wanted to, the owner should share profits with the workers. Now the worker makes money on his skill. If you're a baker, you make what a baker makes, maybe $20 an hour. If you are working you're a chef, you make whatever. So I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why is that? Why do you think like that? Where do they get this thought process? Oh, geez, Ford makes all this money and I'm just an employee and I make $50 an hour. I should make what Ford makes. No. They took the risk. They built it up. They pay for everything. And if it goes under, they go under. You go to another job. Taking the risk, they get the reward. And you can take the risk, but you don't have the balls to take the risk. And that's what the problem is. So, again, another socialist, and they're like proud of it. I'm a socialist. Like, you're an idiot. But this is the problem. They don't realize they're idiots. They don't understand. They think because there's more people, we need to change because it was written in 1776, we need to change. Couldn't be further from the truth. This is the book I recommend. It's Adam Smith. And this was written in 17, what is it? It doesn't have a date. This was written in it was published in 1776, right? So you're telling me this book doesn't work anymore? I don't smell what he's cooking. If we're going to be the Rock, so I don't really get it. I don't know where people get these ideas, and this is the problem. So they have these Clintons or these Obamas or these Biden people. My friend Alyssa asked me. She said, "If you had voted in the election, would you have voted for Trump?" And I said, "Well, I don't like either candidate, but I couldn't have voted for Kamala Harris. He's a communist. And Trump, I have no idea, based on his first term, seemed to be okay. But I don't like either of them. I don't vote because I don't like government because it's all corrupt. It's not run by Trump or Harris. It's run by George Soros. It's run by the defense contractors and the lobbyists. So that's why the whole thing stinks. The whole thing's corrupt. I have no... It's not like, oh, I'm going to vote and my vote counts and the guy who's going to run it's, I'd vote for this lady in Germany, but they won't, they keep blocking her, right? The other guy, I don't know how he gets in. They don't count all the votes. He's in because George Soros does the counting. I can't wait till this George Soros guy goes away. What a joke he is. But this is the problem. And we're basically Trump's destroying the U.S. because Soros wants him to. And that'll end a lot. And then here comes, but they can't control BRICS, can't control China and Russia, even though Russia's at war, which is probably what the U.S. is trying to weaken them. And they got to, run their money. But, what are you going to do? So that's what's going on. So again, look for silver. It got hurt a little by the U.S. where it was 39 and 37, 38, 39. and it's holding in the 38, so we should get a 40. But it's not like this idiot on Mark McGuire said a week ago, where you're going to get ups and downs, and it goes up and down. That's all price fixing. That's the way a derivative of an option works. When the price goes down, it's so they can buy, and when the price goes up, it's so they can sell. I take you to Eddie Murphy. It's 102. The price goes to 142. Since it went up, they sell. And then when the price goes down to 42, they buy. That's the way the system's rigged. It's got nothing to do with reality or the free market. It's all bullshit. The guy can't even recognize that. Why is he on Mark McGuire? What's he got idiot guests like that on for? And he actually has his own channel and his own newsletter. And I'm like, who would be stupid enough to buy this guy? The problem is they're not. Most of these guys are stockbrokers. They're salesmen. They don't know anything about economics, and therefore you shouldn't listen to them. They don't understand. Again, the dollar's being debased. The dollar can't be debased. Debasement is the coins. You're taking the gold and silver out of the coins. How are you doing that with dollars? You are inflating the dollar. It's printed and worth nothing. How the fuck did they get the basement out of that? It's just a joke. It's ridiculous. These people are so stupid. Well, it's the dollar losing value and the price is going up. It's the same thing, because the dollar gets printed, they loses value, and though you need more dollars to buy it, you're saying the same thing, but you don't even understand what you're talking about. So it's just frustrating. Anyway, I'll probably do maybe I'll do the Mountain West a little bit later. I'm going to have my lunch. I'm going to go to the pool. And I've been swinging my golf club for the first time in a while. My back and my shoulders are crying, but it's getting better. You loosen up, you feel better. So that's what I'm doing. And it gets me out a little bit more. So anyway, I'm seeing Groundhog's Day, but now I'm getting some. I went shopping to up north for clothes. I went. Now I'm hitting some golf balls, which I love. So getting back in. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. I'll be back later, I'm sure, with another conference in football. I have talked about the quarterbacks in the last video. Maybe I'll make a separate one so you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so we went through the lines, and we did go through most of the quarterbacks and who's got good quarterbacks and who's got shit quarterbacks, new coaches, things like that. Anyway, have a good day. There's no baseball. Again, a huge day yesterday. 7-1 plus 17 units. So on another day, on the day before, I was 4-5 with 0 units. I made the exact same plays, and I go 7-1 for 17 units. And that's why it's just like the Constitution. Once you have the theory, you just keep going with it. It doesn't always work, but over the long run, it works very well. And the problem is when in the Constitution, when you let J.P. Morgan add a Fed and start taxing everybody, and basically we went off the gold standard in 71, and we created all these wars because of the Fed. That's why the wars are there, the central banks. We didn't have war. We had the Civil War, which was over selling cotton to Britain, and the North wanted to tariff them. Again, tariffs causing wars. But tariffs are no good. I don't know. Anybody that thinks they're good are out of their fucking minds, don't know what they're talking about, because they are added costs to the producer, which either raises his price or he goes out, which then hurts competition. So that's why it's the invisible hand. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Actually, it's laissez-faire is get the fuck out. Visible hand is we don't need any help. Me versus you will compete, and that'll cause us to have better quality and a lower price because we're competing. So that's what you have. All right. www.teaserking.com. Enjoy your day, and I'll be back later with more. All right. Take care, everybody.